Well, hello, everybody. Happy New Year. This is the first square off of 2026. Big show and an excellent panel. Let's meet them now.
I'm Jovani Patterson.
I'm Shannon Wright.
Jim Astrachan.
And I'm Michael Olesker.
Michael, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have you joining us.
Thank you.
We begin the new year. I'm Richard Sher, by the way. We begin the new year with continuing positive news about violence in our city. Baltimore saw a major drop in gun violence and homicides for the third year in a row. Major drop in gun violence and homicides. It's unbelievably great. Mayor Brandon Scott credits the continuing reduction to his group violence reduction strategy. But as the mayor says, even one murder is one too many. Jim Astrachan, what do you say?
I think the mayor has done a very good job. He's done it in conjunction with Ivan Bates and the police department. I think that the homicide rate is down 33% as a result of this GVRS, which they've moved from the Western District and now spread it out into 5 additional districts, targeting those people that have a history or a likelihood of committing violent gun crimes, which are a very small population. It takes resources and it takes time, but I think it's been really successful. And I'll add that even crimes like carjackings are down as a result because they are being perpetrated by some of the same people.
There are some significant numbers there. You're right, Jim. Jovani?
So I think Brandon Scott is probably the luckiest mayor that has ever graced Baltimore. He is the same man that came up with this group violence reduction strategy under Marilyn Mosby, in which we saw some of the highest numbers in the city's history. And then, with no change of plan, he gets Ivan Bates in, and we see this drastic reduction. So I do like to see that the numbers have changed. But I think there are a lot of other factors other than pouring money into these social institutions, which the money oftentimes gets lost, can't get tracked. And also I think there's another part that's missing here is because we've seen a lot of youth violence, there's a lot of laws that aren't able to apply to younger people. So I'd like to see what's going to happen in the next, 4 or 5 years when a lot of these young people become of age, because this is a long game where we'll possibly see another spike in violent crime in the next 3 to 4 years. And this will be after Brandon Scott's tenure is over.
Well, he could run. He can't run for his third term anymore, can he, Michael?
Thanks to me.
I'd like to take a broader look at this. It's great that homicides are down to about 150, where for many years they were over 300. But we still live in a community, the Baltimore metro area, where people are afraid to go into the city. I hear this all the time, and I live in the city. I think that they're wrong when they say they're afraid to go. Baltimore is just like every other big city, and that is we are more than one city. There are great neighborhoods, there are tough neighborhoods, but the city of Baltimore, because of a generation of terrible homicide counts and crime in general, we still have not gotten the message out that it's okay, it's safe. Baltimore is a great place to go. That's the problem.
Wait, Jimmy. While the numbers continue to drop to the lowest total in 3 consecutive years, since 1975, there is always violence. Last weekend in Baltimore City, 3 people were shot, 3 of them shot dead in 5 shootings. This past Wednesday, the BPD, Baltimore Police Department, reported 133 homicides compared to 194 at the same time last year. There were also fewer non-fatal shootings. Shannon, what are your thoughts about this and about the mayor, the job he's doing?
Well, I mean, I am very grateful that the number of homicides and non-fatal shootings has decreased. Um, one life lost is still too much.
Right.
And I am very grateful that Ivan Bates was elected to be able to make that happen for the city. I do not believe that Mayor Scott uh, deserves any credit, and I do mean any credit. With his DVRS and his little places he's putting up around the city, I have never seen an organization that is supposed to be helping reduce crime be under so many different federal investigations in my life. The fact that the money goes in and doesn't come out, there's a whole bunch of issues there. So I think it's the Al Capone theory and Ivan Bates that are responsible for the decrease in homicides, not Mayor Scott.
Jimmy, what were you saying?
What was I saying?
Or what were you wanting to say?
I wasn't, but I will jump in and criticize Scott. He's done a lot of things that people are not caring for.
Like what,
But
Jimmy?
he's the mayor. Well, things he's done is like financial management, for example. As Shannon says, the money comes in, where does it go? But he is the head of the city, and he's got to get credit, in my opinion, for being able to run this gun violence program. It wouldn't happen if he was not supporting it. So he is supporting it. I think he's whipping it. I think he's coordinating the police department and the state's attorney's office. And it's, you can't disagree with the fact that it's working. The homicides are down.
You most assuredly can.
Well, you can, but
Bates said he is not going to be working with the mayor's program anymore because he, in his office, doesn't understand where the money's going and how they're doing it, and there is no transparency. That came from him.
well, we'll see where it goes in a
He tried to
year.
broker a meeting between the two of them because their communication, everything broke down. And Ivan finally said publicly, listen, I don't know what you're doing, and I'm not doing it with you.
But
Come
they
on
are
now.
meeting again, though. They are meeting again. They are talking. They're working forward. They may have issues, but they are going to work together because both of them believe that the city is more important than their particular issues. They'll work
What
those
did you think
issues
of
out.
Michael Olesker's point about the fact that Baltimore has this terrible reputation, except when it comes to the Ravens? I hope that changes. But people just are afraid, many, to come into the city. You still have squeegee kids out there on the streets. And now these squeegee kids are not squeegee kids. They're adults, and people feel threatened. Michael, they just don't want to come into town.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
when-
I can. Was it the Michael or I'm sorry?
Well, Michael was going to speak, then
Look,
you,
it's,
Joe.
it's,
Okay.
it's nice that we've cut homicides in half. It's nice that we have cut crime in general. We moved here when I was 4 years old, 1949. We lived for 4 years in the Latrobe housing projects, and I walked to school every day with another kid in the third grade, pretty close to a mile each way, through tough neighborhoods. Can you imagine sending your child in the second grade, in the third grade, with another third grader today and feel that they're safe? I don't think so. And that, for all the patting on the back we want to give ourselves, that there's only 150 homicides a year, how safe do you feel with those kind of numbers? Do you feel safe enough that you would send your child walking to school at that age and that they're going to make it safely? And trying to convince people of that today, that matters more than numbers. The fear is still, I don't think we have recovered yet from Freddie Gray. I don't think we've recovered economically. I don't think we have recovered psychologically from that. You have people who are very hip people who always went downtown, felt comfortable there, who just will not go anymore.
Jovani, you wanted to speak?
Yeah, I think I think it speaks to like the culture of where crimes happen and what's allowed in the city. I mean, while the numbers are down, just I echo what everyone else is saying. I'm glad to see the numbers be reduced, but you still have crimes happening in broad daylight. You still have things going on in areas that were supposed to be good areas, right? So when you're talking about coming into the city, where would the most people go? They would go downtown, Fells Point, Federal Hill, some of the nicer areas, but there's also where a lot of crime and blatant crime is taking place. It used to be, in for better or worse, it used to be crime is isolated to certain areas, and now that has kind of metastasized into not just the city, but into the county, in the surrounding areas of the county as well. But that's why that whole feeling of safety is important, and it's also the culture that these things can still happen in broad daylight. It was never there was, just talking about the community. There used to be a code to when things would happen. Things never happened on Sundays. Parents and children were never involved, and now it's just kind of a free for all in what we're seeing, as far as violent crime across the city.
Go, Shannon.
I absolutely agree with what Jovani said. There was a story in the news recently about a woman in her early 80s walking outside of her home who got brutally attacked, ended up in the hospital needing stitches. The attack was done by her 16-year-old neighbor. That that is not, I mean, crime has always happened. It's been around, but it used to be there were certain lines that were not crossed. Those lines are gone. That's
Is
why.
there a way? Is there a way to change the image of Baltimore City? And does it deserve an image change?
Jovani,
Well, sure, there's a way to change it. I mean, you've got these park benches all over the city that says Baltimore, the greatest city on earth. It's false advertising, but you can certainly do a public relations campaign or an advertising campaign to try to change the image. But American cities since the turn of the 19th century have been very dangerous places. You have a city that has dense population, and you're going to have crime. And you still can't take away from the fact that we've had a terrible crime problem, a homicide problem, and it's been halved. And I think instead of being critical about we have 150 murders, we ought to be thankful that we've eliminated 150 murders and not rest on the laurels, but keep working towards a further reduction.
Michael, final word on this.
Jovani mentioned the word culture. Some of us here are old enough to remember a mayor named William Donald Schaefer. He became mayor right after the '68 riots when people were bailing out of the city. And what he said was, Baltimore is best. And it's like throwing mud against a building. Some of it will stick. And by insisting over and over and over, Baltimore is best, Baltimore's coming back, he created a mindset. And we had for a while a Baltimore Renaissance. This mayor has not figured out yet how to paint a positive picture of the city. Aside from the drop in crime, what is it that binds us? What is it that makes us feel good about ourselves? We haven't figured that out yet, and this mayor hasn't told us yet what it is that we need to hear that makes us feel better about the city.
Well,
Good
and he
discussion.
won't, because he hates white people.
Right? Jovani, I heard you say, what did you just say?
I said, and the mayor won't. I agree with you, Mr. Olesker, but the mayor won't do that because he hates white people.
Why do you say that?
Because he says it.
When has he said that in public?
Yes.
I have heard him say this is a black city. I resent that because this is an American city.
I agree.
I live in the city. Richard lives in the city. I want to believe that it's my city as well as it's anybody else's. So I do resent that, but I've never heard him be as explicit as you say he's been.
Yeah.
And on that note, we're going to take a pause, and then we'll get to President Trump's 1-year anniversary in office in his second term. And there on your screen is the amazing voice of Square Off, ladies and gentlemen, Howard Mallison.
Thank you, Richard. You know, if you or a family member has experienced personal injury, medical malpractice, or nursing home neglect, it's time to call the law firm of Barry Glazer. He has the legal team and resources to go after the big insurance companies to get you every penny he can. And with an in-house doctor, medical doctor, and nurse, his attorneys work on the toughest and most complex medical malpractice cases. Barry Glazer is your best advocate for the injured, disabled, or medically abused. To give Barry Glazer a call at 410-547-8568. Let him know you heard about him on Square Off. Pappas restaurants are synonymous with the best crab cake you will ever taste. There's a lot more to the Pappas menu, a whole host of specialty dishes that you won't find anywhere else. So for fine dining, special occasions, or just watching sports, Pappas should be your number one choice. That's why Oprah put the Pappas crab cake on her favorite things list. And Pappas ships the crab cakes all over the country. 4 locations: Parkville, Cockeysville, Glen Burnie, and Bel Air. I guarantee you'll become a Pappas regular. And if you're experiencing any kind of foot pain that requires medical attention, I recommend Dr. Kelly Gagan, a well-respected, board-certified podiatrist and heel specialist. No one is immune to foot problems. And also, if you're concerned with the appearance of your feet, Dr. Gagan has a long record of success using laser treatments to correct your issue. Plus, they're safe, they're painless, they go right to the root of your problem. And believe me, because I'm a cured patient, and so is Richard. And don't suffer from the agony of defeat. Start winning with a call to Dr. Gagan at 410-753-4422 to set up an appointment. Once again, that's 410-753-4422. And back to you, Rich.
And I said that she's absolutely terrific. Get it, Mike?
Terrific, Richard.
Thank you, Michael. 2025 was Donald Trump's year with no checks and balances, no guardrails. He was on his very own, whether attacking Venezuela, whether taking trips to foreign countries, talking hours on the phone with President Putin about Ukraine, visits with President Zelensky, shutting down the southern border, blowing up boats Trump claims were loaded with drugs, killing more than 105 crew members who were on those boats, and the Epstein files, the new White House ballroom, adding his name to the Kennedy Center, insulting female White House reporters, and the tariffs. What do you think about all this, Reverend?
Well, President Trump came in with a lot of high hopes and aspirations and a lot of mess to fix. And, sometimes things get worse before they get better. But I think, there has to be a long-term strategy, especially if we look at our economic standpoint. The budget's been growing. The amount of money we've been spending is more than what we've been bringing in. We've been having imbalances in trade. And sometimes, again, when you try and fix things, there's a little bit of pain and discomfort in the process of that fix. I do believe something needed to be done in many areas. 1, economics with the tariffs. 2, immigration. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and none of it's popular. So we're going to see some negative comments and attitudes, but President Trump, I got to give him credit, was willing to take on the hard tasks and try to put a plan forward to make America great.
You think he's been a good president, or is a good president?
I think he has the right idea on a lot of his policy. There's a difference in what you want to do and how you do it. I think that the how, the delivery, could certainly be changed, but the what is not really off point.
Okay, Mo, go.
Well, we're coming up on the 5th anniversary of the riot at the Capitol. um, which the New York Times says today is a date that should live in infamy. Once you have accepted the fact that this guy led an insurrection and became president, then you are accepting that we live in an Alice in Wonderland world. This guy should be in jail, not in the White House. Not just for his policies, and he could give a damn one way or the other. It's whatever gives him power. But he has introduced a coarseness into American life, an overt bigotry that we've never seen from a leader in the White House. He has enriched himself and the people around him at the expense of people who are in dire need. Once you have accepted all of that, then I don't know how you go on to say that this guy is doing a good, much less an honorable job. I think he's been a catastrophe for how we see ourselves as Americans.
Jovani, what do you think about that?
And first, I don't know why we're still perpetrating this lie of inciting an insurrection. I mean, there's been retractions and retractions that have come out about how they doctored footage of what Trump actually said that day. So it's sad to see that, constantly being repeated. And it's also, just kind of interesting that we really don't look at presidents like George Washington and how brash he was. I mean, this guy was the one that founded the country and went to war against, one of the greatest superpowers. And, what kind of attitude do you have to have? Like, you have to have one that protects your people. And I think Trump embodies that same attitude. And also what it shows is that how complicit in the destruction of our country, both political parties have been. When you see, when you see the fact that we started the American Revolution over a 2% tax, and you see how much we're taxed today, and we're saying, hey, the American people deserve economic freedom versus giving that economics or all of their money to the government. I think that does deserve a level of outrage, and Trump sees that. And for someone to say he's only trying to enrich himself when this man does not take a salary for being president, he donates his salary every time he gets paid, and he's done so the last term, and he's done so this term. I think that's completely missing, what the guy does. But according to media, according to the way things are now, there's nothing Trump can do right, despite things being better. Our southern border is closed. We're putting more Americans back to work today, and we're protecting our borders when it comes to even the drugs. We talk about places like Baltimore, where crack and cocaine were filling the streets from Mexico, and President Trump is stopping things like that. So I think it's very disingenuous to say he's doing a bad job when he really is protecting this country. And I'm all for it.
Jimmy Astrachan.
Yes, sir. Well, he's
By the
protecting the
way,
country.
does anyone call you Jimmy?
Yes.
Are you offended by my calling you Jimmy?
Absolutely. No. That was my name in high school. And
All
my
right.
Facebook friends from high school still refer to me as that.
All right, Jimmy, what do you think of Trump?
Well, I think, first of all, he doesn't need to give his salary back because he's taken a $500 million airplane from Qatar, and he's selling pardons for $1 million a pop. But aside from that, he is not following what's called the rule of law. He's following the rule of man, and he's destroying this country and the Constitution. He's created a plutocracy, meaning a government that is governed by the wealthy, while he claims to be referring to the common man, popularism. But he's giving those people nothing, as Michael pointed out. He's taking away from those people. He's taking away their medical insurance, their food, all sorts of lifeline, financial issues. He's destroyed the government. He's a destructionist, is what he is, a destructionist. He is creating a government, and I don't know why, that is based on the anti-elitists, away from science, towards what people think. As Vance said, we need to use common sense. How do you use common sense when you're trying to protect against diseases and viruses? I think that he is the worst president. And if you read Jack Smith's testimony, his 250-page transcript, and Smith is a man that I have the deepest respect for. He was a Hague prosecutor. He said without equivocation, they had enough evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Donald Trump engaged in a conspiracy, forgetting what he said. He engaged in a conspiracy that started days and weeks before January 6th to overthrow the government. How can you find a president who doesn't follow the law, who takes graft like nobody's ever seen, who is engaged in a conspiracy to overthrow the government and say he is a good president? You can't do that.
What law hasn't he
He's
followed?
terrible.
What laws haven't he followed?
What laws? How about he hasn't followed birthright citizenship? The first thing he did when he came in was to issue an executive order saying my agencies are not going to follow birthright citizenship. That is in the Constitution. It's not equivocable. Very few words. So the Constitution is the most basic form of law in this country. It's the forerunner of all laws that Congress committed. So that's number one. He's not going to do that. Number two, he's accepting bribes. He's taking money in exchange for pardons. Pam Bondi's brother, an attorney, is one of the people that bring people to Trump. People are making contributions.
Okay, wrap.
Sorry?
No, I was saying wrap that up. We have to take a commercial break and
okay.
then hear from Shannon, who's sitting on the edge of her seat to respond. Isn't that right?
Yes, yes,
All
yes, I am.
Here's Howard.
And so is Michael.
Yes, the voices square off. Be quick. Go.
Thank you. For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, your choice for a great meal starts at the Double T Diner, and all the menu choices, are served the entire day. Double T Diner has locations all over town on Route 40 West, Perry Hall, White Marsh, Bel Air, Laurel, Annapolis, Pasadena, and the EC Diner in Ellicott City. You've never seen a menu with so many selections. It's why the Double T Diner wins so many reader polls. Plus, Monday nights are lobster night at By the Docks, part of the Double T family. Let them know you heard about them on Square Off. And, with so many cars on the road these days, traffic accidents are going to happen. And if you've experienced an accident, the insurance companies can't tell you where to take your car. That's why more and more drivers are trusting their auto repairs and maintenance to leading edge auto body and mechanical repair. They work on all makes and models and offer free pickup and delivery anywhere in the Baltimore area. So give them a call at 410-443-6433 or visit them at 5807 Falls Road in the heart of Mount Washington. They make your car look and run like new again. And with the winter weather now on us and these little snowstorms, be very careful out there driving. Back to you, Richard.
Leading Edge is excellent. Take good care of our cars. And go ahead. Shannon, then Michael, go.
Okay, so I'm a little confused and conflicted by some of these things that are being said here. One thing I find interesting is that folks want to criticize President Trump for his brashness and he's not, polished. He's doing all these things. But have you ever given it a thought that he's the first president that is actually honest and owns what he's doing? It's not that what he's doing is so different than things other presidents have done. It's just he's not bothering to put the energy in to cover it up, make it look like a snow screen. And as Judge Judy would say, peeing on your leg and telling you it's rain.
Go ahead,
There's
Mike.
be said for being direct and to the point.
Let me go back to something Jovani said before, which reminds me of the great philosopher Groucho Marx. Who said, "Who are you going to believe, me or your lion eyes?" Jovani, how can you tell us that what we saw with our own eyes, the January 6th riot, to overthrow the government, to attempt to kill the Vice President of the United States, the Speaker of the House, that attempted to kill police officers, that didn't happen exactly as we saw it. And that is, the original sin of this administration, which preceded all the other sins to follow. But how we got from that place of January 6th to where this guy became president and has thereafter taken advantage of the insanity that he created. Please don't tell me that I didn't see what I saw with my own eyes, along with 300 million other Americans.
All right,
Please
well,
don't tell me
good.
that I didn't see that.
Well,
Wait,
I mean,
nobody said you didn't see it. Hold on, Jovani. I'm sorry. I got to jump in here. It's not about what you saw. We all saw what people did. But what you didn't see, and you can't say you did because nobody did, was President Trump tell people to go do that. Now,
We all saw it. No, you're
No,
absolutely wrong.
what
He
did Trump say?
absolutely
What did Trump
did the
say
thing
that
wrong.
incited
no.
an insurrection? And what did Trump say that incited an insurrection? I don't even know why we're still hashing this out. And what responsible adult will listen to that?
300 million of us.
No, what did Trump say?
No, he said responsible adult. He put a caveat on that.
What did Trump say?
Let's not get we don't talk.
You know,
in terms of-
don't forget that he also had a conspiracy to create false electors in many states that
And
then
the Russia
acted,
hoax is not a
they acted
conspiracy.
on that, which is also a crime. So
We've seen
you've
the
got
Russia
insurrection,
hoax.
You've got the false electors.
We've seen
Again,
Russia hoax, and
the
none of this
only
stuff
Wait,
is
difference
stop,
is he said
stop.
come to
You're
the left.
all interrupting one another. We have about
Yeah.
just a few minutes left. Jovani, react to Michael. Michael, go ahead.
Man,
Go, Jovani.
No, so we've seen Trump go through this Russia hoax and all these other conspiracies against him. This man is not conspiring against. He wants to see America great, and that's why he came up with the phrase and just reused it. Really, make America great again. Now, this man never told anyone to go. He said, "March down peacefully and patriotically." There's no dog whistle in that. There's no one that's a patriot or MAGA supporter that then believes, oh, this means go tear stuff up. No, peacefully and patriotically means peacefully and patriotically. That's all it means. So whoever else hears that, maybe that kind of gives a clue on what you hear when you hear those things. So it wasn't MAGA that did all this, that inciting this violence. I believe there was some other things that were happening that have started to come out that it leads to the events that you guys are talking about today.
Well, we got to be very brief now. Jim, did you want to speak, Jim?
Yeah, I just want to say what I heard was if you want to save this country, you got to fight like hell. And he wanted to get down there. And then he sat in the White House for 3 hours while the riot was happening. When his aides
if you
were
want to
telling
save your
him
family,
to
you got to
call it
fight
off,
for your
and
family.
they wouldn't do it.
If you want to save your family, you got to fight for your family. You want to save
Right,
your career, you
right.
got to fight for your career.
Right.
You want to save your job, you got to fight for your job.
Right.
So
and of course,
you know,
what he was doing is he was doing this on the basis that the election was fraudulent, even though he had been told by dozens of people, including his attorney general, there was no evidence of fraud. So he was using these false words to fire these people up and send them to the Capitol.
Well, it's amazing how much fraud is being exposed
you
now.
can't
That's
convince
all I'm saying.
somebody who is entrenched. So there are two sides to the story, but they should have tried him. They should have tried him.
They
If they
did.
tried him, they would have convicted him.
They
and He'd
did.
be in jail today.
They did.
Shannon,
No, they didn't
15
try him.
seconds
They
for
did not
you.
try him.
15.
They did not try him.
So
Okay.
I'm
15
happy to see
seconds.
I'm happy to see we've all made it to a new year. Hopefully we can leave some of the old garbage and Disney fantasy in the old one and not bring it with us. We have a president now, just like the gentleman said, we need to respect and appreciate the mayor. We need to respect and appreciate the president. Enough said.
Michael, final word.
I don't think it's enough said. I have hopes for this mayor. I tremble at the thought of Donald Trump being in the White House and being the not only the voice of leadership, but the voice of morality or ethics for America. I think he is a catastrophe.
Well, let me say this was a very interesting and friendly discussion for the first square off of 2026. We have a lot to be thankful for, and we hope everyone has a healthy, happy new year. And we'd like you to go on our website at squareoff.net. And when it asks for your comments, we'd like your comments on our topics and on our panelists. So go to squareoff.net and then click on the little button that says your comments. Well, stay warm because it's plenty cold, and good luck to the Ravens. And we will see you next time when once again we square off. Bye-bye, everybody.
So long, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
You know, yeah.